Hello ladies and gentlemen, today we are talking about repeaters on Wix Code. So before we hop into actually how to utilize repeaters, let's first discuss what repeaters are. So repeaters, best way to explain it is if you have a database, you can have data repeat based off of the row that's entered in the database. So this may be a bit confusing to understand without the visuals here, but pretty much we can have a piece of data that looks the same. So design-wise, it looks the exact same, but it'll change according to certain data that is inputted in the database. That's the best way to explain it. Visuals will help me explain that further. Before we hop into the visuals though, head over to weeklywixwednesday.com. Guys, very simple. If you like Wix and you like learning more about Wix and how to properly maximize the Wix platform, hit up my email list here, guys, weeklywixwednesday.com. Every Wednesday I send you an exclusive Wix tip, trick, or tutorial. I'm dropping value bombs all the time. People are loving it. I'm loving helping you. So head on over there. Next, repeaters. We're back to repeaters, guys. So first off, when we're dealing with repeaters, we need to first activate the Wix Code tools. So we're going to head over here to the code tool, our tab, and we're going to click on turn on developer tools. Then we'll have all of our Wix Code tools pop up, our properties panel, our site structure here, and then our page code down here. So for right now, we're just gonna go ahead and close our site structure tab. And what we're gonna do is, now that the code tools are activated, we're actually gonna go ahead and add our repeater. So I'm gonna close the properties panel for right now. So to actually add our repeaters, what we're gonna do is we're gonna come in here to the add button. And then once we get in here, we're gonna see user input. That you guys are pretty familiar with. Database, you guys are pretty familiar with. But we're not going to be in those two sections today. No, we are not. Instead, today, we are going to be in list and grids. So, you see right here, repeaters, right at the top. And then you see a couple different options here for repeaters, which is pretty awesome. We've got a pretty long list here of different repeaters we can use, and they're all pretty well designed and very good looking, and all 100% customizable. Under that, you see tables. We're not going to be working with tables today, although they've got great tables as well. Like I said, we're going to be working with strictly repeaters today. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through, and we have to choose whatever one is going to work best for what we're trying to achieve. Again, all of these are 100% customizable in the design. It's strictly picking one that you think is a good starting ground or starting place for you to actually get that design going and get it ready. Now, once you scroll through here, what one do we want to pick today? What one do I want to show you? Really doesn't matter, but all right, I'm just going to show you this one right here. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to add our repeater. Okay, so you see that this is the same exact design here, right? You have the same design repeated. You've got the big title, the little description, the view more button, and then a picture right here. Well, it's very simple, and that's what a repeater is. That's strictly what it is. It's the same design, although what happens is it's dynamic. So when new information is updated in the database, these elements will change according to what is updated. So what we have to do is we have to add a database. So what we're going to do is we're going to open our site structure back up, and we're going to go ahead and click Add New Collection. So now we have our repeater on the page. We know what we want the repeater to look like. We know the information we have to capture. We have to capture a title, a description, and a image. And then we can move forward. So we're going to click Add New Collection. And in this case, start creating database collections. We're going to name it, we'll just call it blog post, because it kind of looks like a blog post repeater. What is this database collection used for? we're going to just call it anyone can view. So we're just going to call it site content. And then we create collection. Now it's going to work its magic and bring us into the sandbox database editor. This is not live. This is where you make all your changes and edit information and tabs and fields and all that good stuff. So now that we're in here, you see a preloaded title field. This is locked, and it is a preloaded locked field in the Wix database editor. You can't move it. You can't change it. So you can either decide to use it, or you just leave it over there and you don't have to use it at all. I usually never use it. I usually go ahead and create all my own fields, but if you did want to use this title field, you can use it. It's not locked for no use. It's just a locked field placeholder that Wix uses as a placeholder field in their sandbox database, well, in their whole database. So what we're going to do is we know we need to collect a blog title. We want the field type to be text. We know we need to collect a blog description. Want it to also be text. And then we know we need a post image. This we want to be an image. We want the field type to be an image. So we'll click add. Now guys, I'm going off of the assumption that you guys have kind of already watched some of my tutorials based on databases. So these next few parts I'm going to move a little bit quicker. But just follow along. And if you do have questions, feel free to just comment down below. I'd be more than happy to answer them. So now we have our title, our description, and our image, which were the three main things we had to capture for our repeaters to work. So what we now have to do is we have to go back, okay? Ooh, we don't want that back. So what we're going to do is we're just going to simply close our site structure here and go to the repeaters page. Well, now that we're on here, just like creating a user input form and displaying that information, we need to add a data set. This is the connection. I like to say it's the glue between the database and your page or your information being collected in the case of a user input form. The data set is what connects that information in the database to the page. So we're going to go ahead, click add, go up to database, and we're going to click data set. Now what we want is we want this data set to be our blog post database. That's the database we created to connect to this page for this information. We want it to be read only. No users are changing any information. Nothing is being collected as far as form fields or anything like that. So it has to be read only. Pretty simple to understand in that part. But another important fact, you'll notice something. This is technically a dynamic page because it's going to be displaying dynamic information. So what we're going to want to do is we want to go up here to our page manager, click manage pages, and on here we click those three little buttons and we click set as a dynamic page and start creating. And it's actually going to be a category page because it's going to show multiple different blog posts. So then we're going to click next, and we're going to set the URL to blog post. You could change it and add it to a field if you wanted, but we're just going to keep it as blog post. We're going to create page. So now this is a dynamic page because we have to collect information and display it on this page. So your original data set you can technically delete, or you can keep it, but I'm going to delete it. You should really only have one data set on the page. When you create a dynamic page, it creates it based off of the database you connect to. So in this case, there's one database, so it automatically connected to the blog post database, which added a preloaded data set, which is that glue on the page. So when you create a dynamic page, if you do that first step, which I would highly recommend, but I was just showing you different elements and how to add certain things, it will already add this data set to your page. Now, what we need to do is we need to connect our information in our repeaters to our database fields. So, you'll see right here, this is going to be our title field, right? To connect it to the database, and this is where my older tutorials come into play, you simply click this little connect to data button, And then you're going to come here, you're going to click blog post because you're connecting to a field in blog post, and that field you're connecting to is blog title. Bam, you'll see it turns green when you've connected to the data successfully. We come in here, we do the same thing for our blog description. And then we have our blog image. Okay guys, and then we come into image here and we click image connects to image source. We don't want link. Image source connects to post image. Bam, just like that. So now we have our image connected to our database, our blog title connected to our database field, and then our actual blog description connected to our database field. Most importantly, click save. Once we do that, what we're going to do is, if we click preview, nothing comes up, right? The reason for this is because there's no dynamic information in the database yet. There's absolutely zero information in the database. So nothing is going to populate quite yet. However, what we're now going to do is I'm going to take you to the back end of the database and actually go to the live database and input some information so that way it can display. So we're going to come in here. We're just going to go to my site 4 here because that's the one I'm using. And then we're going to come in and we're going to click database. Once we do that, and again guys, I am showing you this and I am adding to this database collection. Oh, whoops, I haven't published the site. Got to publish the site before there's a live database. Key point there. Publish the site before there's a live database. Loading, loading, loading. We've got our database. So, now, key point here. We need that data. So, I am creating this data in the live database. Of course, depending on whatever you guys are displaying, you may have a user input form that people actually upload their own data and it'll display. So let me give you a quick preview of what that would look like in more layman's terms, in actual perspective. So let's just say there's a peer-to-peer rental marketplace, Airbnb, take for instance. People post their house listings, right? And they're using input forms, custom input forms, to post their house listing. Once they do that, it's displayed on a page. Well, they have their own house listing page or apartment listing, whatever listing, but for their home, apartment, suite, anything like that. And then there's also a whole search page that it populates on as well. All of that information is dynamic information. It's use of repeaters. So what Airbnb does is you can see if you go search something in Airbnb, it has the same exact design for every search result. It's just the information is different in each one. So Airbnb carries the process from the user inputting their own information all the way up to them displaying that information past the point of sale. So there's a lot involved with Airbnb per se, but in true reality, you can now create a website very similar to Airbnb. You have the functionality to do it now. It's just there's more advanced coding and knowledge involved. But simple things like these repeaters are all going towards creating something magical like that. You can take all of this knowledge from all the different tutorials I'm proposing here and take that and build something spectacular. I just wanted to give you that insight because I thought that was important so you know in real life perspective how this all connects and how it works. So, now, let's just go in here and add some information. Blog title, Wall Street stocks, boom. Blog description, excuse me. The Wix stock just went through the roof. Wow, it's fantastic. Perfect. Post image, I'm just going to add a random image here, guys. I don't really have one just prepared. What do we want here? Let's find just a random post image. Okay, here, this is me with the CEO of Wix. We'll use this as the post image. Okay, cool. So that is one dynamic line of information, right? So that's going to be used on one repeater. Now, we're going to add a second line of information. So this is going to be used on the second repeater. So we'll name this one, so I guess we're talking about an investing blog here. If I say Wall Street stocks boom. So let's just say cryptocurrency sees an increase. I'm just here with positivity today, guys. Bitcoin starts soaring. You better wait a few more days and sell high. Now let's come in here, add a post image. What do we want? What do we want? What do we want to add? We want to add this because Bitcoin's expanding, right? Cryptocurrency is soaring. And then let's just add one more so we can show 3 different posts. You get a good variety. I just want to stay on this theme of positivity and good. So what else in the investing world? Let's see. The Wolf of Wall Street is back. Guys, if you haven't seen The Wolf of Wall Street, I'm just going to go on record. Yes, it is a pretty raunchy movie with Leonardo DiCaprio. But it is a fantastic movie. You gotta see it. You really do. If you're at all interested in money, investing, sales, anything like that, wow. Absolutely fantastic movie. So, blog description. The Wolf of Wall Street brings some massive numbers back to NYC. Fantastic. Now let's pull up an image here. What would we like? What image would we like? What image would we like? Going through our different image bases here. Oh, there was a cryptocurrency thing. Wow, interesting. All right, let's just use a credit card thing. I don't know. I don't have any pictures on hand. So now we just added these different pieces of information to our live database. So another thing to note. This portion in your Wix dashboard is the live database. So any information you edit or change in here is permanent. It's not like the sandbox that you can change it and then it won't affect the live database until you sync it to the live database. Any information changed, edited, or deleted in here in the live database portion is permanent. Just something to note. So now that we have that, guys, what we can do is we can go back to our dashboard. And then we can go to quick actions and we can view our live site. And now, if we go to, I don't even remember what I named the page. It's a dynamic page, that's right. Okay, so now what we have to do is we have to add a link to our dynamic page. So I'm just going to go here to the home page, okay? And I'm just going to add a random link for the purpose of this to show you. So that's a good point, guys. You usually traditionally have a dynamic page to display information after users have done something or searched something. So usually it's not just going to be a page up on your menu. It may be, but traditionally it's not. So I'm going to come here, add a button, and we're just going to add this random button right here. And we're just going to say, Wall Street. We'll stick with the theme. Add a link, and we're going to add a link to, we don't want that. We want a dynamic page right there. Blog post, my apologies. And we'll have it open in the current window. Okay, so that's good. We'll click publish. Come in here, view site. X out of that. Now we want to go to Wall Street, don't we? Let's click Wall Street. Give it a second to load. And wow, would you look at that? Just like that, it gives us dynamic information displayed as perfect as we originally created it. Look at that. Isn't that something else, guys? And all of that could lead to one big, massive way. Having the ability to do this one thing in Wix with repeaters can exponentially increase your ability to do so many other things with Wix Code. You can now display dynamic information. You can collect user information and then display it dynamically. You can have people search, which I will create a video on how to search your database. This is something special. This is good stuff. Now, I didn't show you in this one how to add the link dynamically as well. I'm going to do more videos on this repeaters function and how to properly use it, but I wanted to give you a base tutorial on how to get started with this and correctly start utilizing repeaters, because I think it's such an asset when building a Wix website, especially with Wix Code. And I know the requests that I've gotten from you guys, because a lot of you I've heard from personally and tell me what type of website you're trying to build. And this is right up your alley. This can display different types of user information. It can display profiles. It can display products. It can display so many different things. So please take this and use it to your advantage. If this video helped you out, please drop a like down below. Comment if you've got any questions at all. Don't forget to subscribe here on YouTube, and also head over to weeklywixwednesday.com, where I am dropping value bombs just like this one every Wednesday to help you further your knowledge in Wix and learn more about the Wix platform. That's what I'm here to do. That's my passion. My name is Michael Strouk. I appreciate you guys joining me. And yes, I promise I will create more videos about this Wix Code stuff, especially repeaters, because there's a lot more I can talk about and a lot more I can show you. I may even run a webinar on it, so stay tuned. Thank you guys very much. I'll catch you on the next one.